all heard me or yeah, just react with a thumbs up. Yeah. We'll wait till 8:10. And just a heads up, and I see like a lot of familiar faces. Unlike my last sessions, this is fully like oriented towards TinkerHack. So because of that reason, for that reason, we'll be again, as I said before, we won't be covering everything in detail. We'll just be like going through like the things you could do, like the proper basics and everything like that. Yeah. And well, Fuad, as I said before, Fuad will also be joining us in a while. So until then, yeah, let's just wait for a few more minutes until I set up as well. Okay, it's 8:10. So I guess we'll like start off pretty quickly. Like again, once again, this is a very small session. So all right. Um, I would like it if it could be like pretty interactive. So what all are you like trying to look for from this session? Any volunteers? I see one familiar name. Can I call you? Um, Rida, what are you trying to like, get from this conversation? Sorry that I had to go for you because you'd been there for my last two sessions.
Um, Actually, I was just joining to see you everything. I don't know. എന്താപ്പോ ആ ലൈക്ക് ടിങ്കർ ഹാക്കിന് എന്തായാലും പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ബേസിക്സ് നോക്കാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു വന്നതാ.
Okay. So year 1 hour, is everyone like okay with like me speaking, both English and Malayalam? Just a thumbs up would do. All right, cool. Okay, അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ yeah.
Yeah. Hi
Oh yeah,
guys.
Fuad is here.
Yes. Hello. My name's Ford. I short introduction. I guess I am currently working at Humans as a product engineer. I hope to go along with you guys. ഈ ഒരു 1 hour നമ്മൾ actually decide എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് we are not gonna teach per se. We're gonna like learn to learn the പറയല്ലേ. So we're gonna teach you the tools on how you can learn these things. We'll cover the basics of programming, like it's not specific to a language. Then we'll cover like the proper ways of documentation and some ways not to write code.
Yeah. So without further ado, we'll start. Fuad, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, all right. So why do you think programming and coding still matters in 2026? I mean, we have everything at our disposal right now. We've got like IDEs like Cursor. We've got Lovable. We've got Anti-Gravity, similar stuff. And with all of our like email accounts, I'm pretty sure every one of us has the premium or the pro versions like maybe Gemini Pro or like Perplexity, anything like that. So isn't it better to just just vibe code? at its finest. Just tell our AI what to do, just do this, just do that. Okay, that's it. And just, scroll Instagram. Unfortunately not, because even now it is prone, like our code is prone to errors. It may be security, or if you try to like update something, then if you try, okay, maybe like you tried making a whole website, but then you needed to add a feature. But then when you try to add that feature with an AI, it may have deleted another few files. So for that case, it's best to know what you're doing. And right now it is, you should use AI obviously, but then it is best to know what you're doing, so you know where to debug, where to solve, and where to create. So that's why I've given that in the pill shape cutout, which is debug, solve, and create. I know I've written it even in 2025, but still. So again, we do need, you know to know the basics of programming and coding in 2026 to debug, solve, and create. Um, yeah. So for session objective,
Okay. So the main objective here is first we'll get around with the basic programming concepts. So conditionals, loops, and certain things like that. So first of all, uh, think of programming like building something, right? You don't start by building the second floor. You have to build the first floor. And even in the first floor, you have to think about like the foundation and what comes below it and above it. So in പ്രോഗ്രാമിങ്ങിലും അങ്ങനെ നോക്കാനും യു ക്യാൻ ഡു. ഇപ്പം ഒരു വലിയൊരു പ്രോബ്ലം എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇപ്പം ഐ ഐ ഇമാജിൻ മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് യു ഗൈസ് വിൽ വൈറ്റ് കോഡ് വാട്ട് എവർ യു ഗൈസ് ആർ ഡൂയിങ്. സോ ദ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് ഇസ് വൈറ്റ് കോഡ് ചെയ്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ കുറച്ചെങ്കിലും മനസ്സിലാവണം. സോ ഫങ്ഷൻസ് എന്നാണ്, വിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് വിത്ത് ഫങ്ഷൻസ്, then we'll cover what can be in each functions, which will contain like loops, conditionals, and such. Ram,
yeah. So first of all, I'll just introduce you to like VS Code. I'm pretty sure every one of you guys have known about VS Code. If not, I'll just quickly tell you what it is. It's an IDE, an integrated development environment, and this is where most of us have coded or will be coding. And there are other IDEs as well you could use, which are forks or like different versions of VS Code. അപ്പോൾ വി എസ് കോഡിലാണ് നമ്മൾ കോഡ് എഴുതി റൺ ചെയ്യുന്നതും നമ്മൾ കോഡ് എഴുതി അതിൽ കാണുന്നതും. മീൻ ഇറ്റ് ഹെൽപ്സ് us like see the things in a different way and more like easier way, I believe. So ആ ഒരു കാരണം കൊണ്ട് we'll be using VS Code as our main reference, but obviously if you know other IDEs you could use that with no doubt. And yeah, so Python programs ആയാലും എന്ത് program ആയാലും all you need to do is download the extensions or download it to your computer to do that. So a message to the beginners would be, it is okay to get confused, because most of us do not need to know programming right now, because you all can learn programming with all the tools that you have right now at your disposal. Be it ChatGPT, be it Google, be it Stack Overflow if you're into that. But again, it's all okay to take your time and everything. So don't get overwhelmed and try practicing whenever you can. Just even with the concepts that we'll teach you, it's best to go through them every now and then. Yeah. So Fuad, you want to take up
Yeah.
for
Yes. So what we want to prioritize here is experience more than speed. Actually, the fact is you guys only have about 24 hours for this specific hackathon. So the thing is, even if you try hardest to learn these concepts, you can't cram all of them under 24 hours. So what you should do is you take like a very small and niche subject. Let's say you want to build a web app with which monitors the weather. So you just focus on how the weather API works. that itself it might be like a daunting task. അത് കുറെ ടൈം എടുക്കുമായിരിക്കും. ബട്ട് ആ ഒരു സംഭവം മനസ്സിലാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you have a place where you can start and learn other things. So സ്പീഡ് കൊണ്ട് we can always go for speed. പക്ഷെ ഇഷ്യൂ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ the time is so little that we will always like get a shallow understanding of what's going on. പിന്നെ ആ ഒരു 24 hour കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ താല്പര്യം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല പിന്നെ അത് കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. So that becomes an issue. So what we are trying to focus on is teach them something that they are interested in, something they're building, be it like an API or a new UI library or something. So we focus on experience rather than how fast they can learn these things. So what is actually programming? So since AI has taken over most of what coding comes, a lot of what programming has become is getting a broader idea of what is going on. From, let's say you're building a system where you're handling messages. Message handling you have to think about how the interface looks, how the database is handled, how all of these connects, how you can optimize this, how you can make it faster. So these comes under the fact that these are all like programming logic, not per se coding. So avadeyana a shift from, what do you say, going from just purely writing code, you have to get a broader understanding of what is going on. But the thing is, even if you look at just programming as a fact, coding also has some factors that are still not solved by AI. If you think about how many errors generated code gives, that is something you still have to think about. Let's say I build a WhatsApp clone tomorrow. It might actually work, but the issue is it cannot scale to users. This is a broader topic, but you understand the broader aspects of programming rather than coding itself, since I imagine most of you guys will use AI. So what I want you guys to understand is, what does individual parts of your program do rather than how the syntax or how individual lines are.
So the core program flow, I'll just like tell you what the core program flow is. So what it is basically, you want to know how to like actually like think actually. So it's mostly like a small flow about human idea, instructions, computer output. So you have a human idea. I'll just like probably like show it to you in a whiteboard if it's possible.
I'll show it actually.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the idea, I guess. What is an idea? Well, let's bounce off. One of you guys say something. Some idea you guys have in mind that you want to build. Anybody want to volunteer? Raise hand. Otherwise, we'll pick someone. Ryan, can you pick someone? One of your previous.
One of my previous guys. I know I don't want to like trouble Rida. She's always been really enthusiastic. How about Fahmida?
Fahmida. Okay.
I mean, come on, we'll just make it interactive. I am, let's just make it interactive. We're all learning here.
Yeah.
Any volunteers?
Who should we choose? Let's see. Aguila, Anil. I'm randomly choosing. Sorry. Okay. I guess we'll give up on the fact that we We tried that. Okay, another what would be an idea? Suggest something.
I don't know. Maybe
A cooking recipe app, I guess. Let's say that. Recipe app. Cooking. Okay. Let's do this. What do you say? Okay. What do you do now?
So that's your idea. That's your human idea.
This is your idea. So what is the next part you do?
Come on. For this, we need volunteers. We need volunteers.
ഞാൻ പറയാം.
Okay. Thank you so much.
ഞാൻ UI ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യാവാണെങ്കിൽ ഫിഗ്മയിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാം.
ഫിഗ്മയിലെ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യാം. That is one thing.
Figma.
Okay.
പിന്നെ വല്ല റെസിപ്പി ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ നോക്കുക. നമ്മൾ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ഇൻഗ്രീഡിയൻസ് കൊടുത്താൽ അങ്ങനത്തെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ.
Okay. So basically, like, ചെറിയൊരു instructions would be the right term, right?
Okay. Instructions. I actually didn't hear her clearly. What did she say?
Rida. You.
Okay. Let's just say. What would be another thing you would do? You would like try to find what the features you want in this app is. That would be something else you want to do. So Ryan, what would be the next thing to do?
Probably to, like, with all the things that we have, formulate something and then try to, like, tell the computer what to do.
Yeah. So from the features you have, right? Let's say our features are what? We want to display all the recipes. Recipes that I created. That is one thing I wanna show. Another thing is I want to be able to add more recipes in the future. And I would also like the ability for others to share my recipes. So what are our core 3 things we want to do? This is the whole features we are going to do with our app, right? So how would you build this specifically? If you think about it, you're definitely going to use some sort of AI to do this, right? So what you would do is you would be like, you'd first focus on one specific module of your thing, which would be like, how do I display all the recipes? You would, after that, you would be like, I want to, so you would do this like one at a time. That's the whole point. Instead of just being like, oh, I want to build the recipe app, you think of it in modules of sub things of what you want to do. And from there, you can start and get an idea of how you are going to build these things. You want to add something, right?
One second. Fuad, can you handle this?
Yeah. So mostly the other things you would want is, in the simplest terms, you would never just prompt, how do I say, AI for one specific task. You'll always be like, these are my requirements. These are the things I want to do. let's say we can display all the recipes that I have created, right? So I will be like, first handle the UI part on how the recipes are displayed. The other is, how do I store the recipes? So even in this one specific task, we have split that into what? Two things. What did I just do? Yeah, I have messed up, I think. But yeah, so the whole point is we are dividing one thing and creating multiple subtasks on how it can be done. We can move on to starting on the basics of programming. The reason I'm saying is why you should do both. Understand the basics of programming and some sort of like logical understanding of what the code is. The AI has not gotten to a level where you can just rely upon it. കാരണം errors വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ there will be at a point where you will just be like prompting it to be like, can you fix this for me? ആ ഒരു cycle വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it be like very frustrating for the fact that you can't find a solution.
Exactly. And okay. Yeah. So exactly, as Fuad suggested, had said, like, you know, when you try to like do like you're like debug something that you don't even know about, you get stuck in an infinite loop about just telling it mindlessly, telling the AI, okay, fix this for me, fix this for me. Okay, you fixed this, but then you broke this thing, so fix that for me, fix that for me. ആ ഒരു ലൂപ്പിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നത് ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി ഫ്രസ്ട്രേറ്റിംഗ്. ആൻഡ് അതിനെക്കാട്ടും നല്ലത് ഇഫ് വി നോ വാട്ട് വി ആർ ഡൂയിങ്, then that makes the thing much more easier. So that's mostly the main part of it. So
So right now I'll give you like a very broad understanding of like a few programming concepts. So one of them is conditionals. So conditionals is usually denoted by the if thing. So most programming language has a keyword called if, which decides if something should happen or not. So let's say,
like
I
as you can
have
see
a
in this slide, we have three things. That is in when you compare it with Python. But then Fuad, you can actually like share, like I actually like shared the slides.
yeah.
Just wanted to make sure that, you know, people know that it's Python.
Mhm.
In case the people go for like a different language, it could be different. So yeah, Fuad, on off to you.
So conditionals is one of the factors. You have certain conditions you want to make. Let's say you give your username, and if that name starts with the letter A, you do one thing. Or I guess more specifically, the example here is score actually. If your score is above 90, you give them a grade A. If the score is above 70 and below 90, you give them grade B. And otherwise, you just give them grade C. So if you look at here, you will see three kinds of keywords actually, if, elif, and else. Even though the names or the keywords may be different in different languages, the logic remains the same, which is first you have one condition, after that another condition, and a fallback. That is what the else is. So you have one condition, another condition, and if none of them have been I guess triggered, you go for the last one. That is the basics of what conditionals are.
Yeah. So again, like all of this actually goes in one single line for Python. So right now, do not take this to like, you know, to by heart the whole if and else thing, because it is, you know, it is with respect to the language you're using. So with respect to Python, if again if you know this is probably like a score checker and a grade printer, I would probably write, I'll probably have something called a variable. I'll just explain what a variable is. So variables are something that you actually like store data into. So നമ്മൾ മാത്സിലും ഓൾജിബ്രയിലൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ എക്സ് ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു 3 ഓർ എക്സ് ഇസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു 4 പറയുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മൾ വേരിയബിൾസും സ്റ്റോർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് വി ക്യാൻ ലൈക്ക് സ്റ്റോർ സംതിങ് ലൈക്ക് സ്കോർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ വേരിയബിൾ എടുത്ത് നമുക്ക് അതിലേക്ക് ഇടാൻ പറ്റും. Now what does score actually store? it stores an integer value. We don't need something like, or a text or like, a character and thing. Our data type. So data types we have a lot of data types, but most of the prominent ones are int, boolean, float, character, string. Idellam different കാര്യങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റോർ ചെയ്യാനാണ്. നമുക്ക് like as humans we know that 3 is a number, hello is a text, but then we need to like explicitly tell like a few programming languages, okay, so this is an integer and you must only perform integer calculations with this data type. So we need to explicitly declare that. So adinu vendi some of them have like data type declarations. So ഇത്രയും നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയതിൽ we'll also like we'll take this example into like like an actual program. So suppose I'd actually like written something called score is equal to for 95.
So here score is the variable.
Yes, score is the variable, and then score is equal to 95 എന്ന് ഞാൻ എഴുതി. അതിന്റെ അടിയിൽ what I'm going to do is, if score is greater than or equal to, I'm pretty sure most of you must have some idea about the relationship operators. Like there is, can I have like a reaction if there are any who does not know about the relationship operators? For those who don't know, that is. I'm guessing no one. Yeah, okay, cool. So that means right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare the value of the value which is in the variable score to my hard coded value which is 90. So if score is greater than or equal to 90, it should be printing grade equals A. Else, if, that's what elif is in when you with respect to Python. So else, if the score is greater than, that is if it is not, I mean if the score is greater than or equal to 90, the conditional stops there. It doesn't need to like check whether the other things are valid or not, because the other fulfill ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഈ ഒരു if elif or else ഒരു സബ് ലൂപ്പിൽ നിന്നും പുറത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ആദ്യത്തെ അത് നമ്മുടെ കേസിൽ 95 ആയതുകൊണ്ട് if score is greater than or equal to 90, does it verify that? It does. It is actually greater than 90. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഗ്രേഡ് എ ആയിട്ട് പ്രിന്റ് ചെയ്യും. Suppose it was like somewhere around 80 or something. So that means ആ elif score greater than or equal to 70ലാണ് നമ്മൾ അത് ഇടുന്നത്. ആ ഒരു റീസണിൽ ആ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ ഗ്രേഡ് ബി എന്നായിരിക്കും പ്രിന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഇൻ കേസ് ഈ ഒരു 70 മുകളിലല്ല 90 മുകളിലല്ലെങ്കിലോ else it will print grade C. So that's what conditionals are. Fuad, you want to take up on input and output?
Yeah, that's the brush upon conditions. The fact is, it's like a questionnaire. ഓരോ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും ആസ്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് പോകുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം a computer asks all of these questions. If it first asks, is the score above 90? Not, it goes to the other line. If yes, it just finishes the execution there. That's the point. So it's like line by line, all questions ഇത് വായിക്കും. ഇത് above 90 ആണോ, എന്നിട്ട് ലാസ്റ്റ് ഒന്നും അല്ലെങ്കിലാണ് എൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് പോവുക. നമ്മൾ എൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റിന് ഫോൾ ബാക്ക് എന്ന് പറയും. അതിന് മുമ്പിലെ എല്ലാ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ്സിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ ഓരോ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് പോലെ ചോദിക്കുക. ഓക്കെ, if you guys understand conditionals, just a thumbs up would be nice. മനസ്സിലായില്ലെങ്കിൽ we can explain more. Just a thumbs down would be good, I guess. Okay. Ryan, next.
You want to take up input and output?
Yeah. So input is our way of talking to the program. Output is their way of, I guess, giving us a result back. So most programming languages have a function called input where we can input something. This is like a command line utility, but other input function input is a way that we communicate with the program itself. Output is a place where it prints out results. The output in the use from errors debug we print a lot of the errors in the command line itself, so we see these things. necessarily speaking, നിങ്ങൾ ഈ ഹാക്കത്തോണിൽ ഇത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നില്ല, but it's good to know. The fact is, നിങ്ങൾ കുറെ പ്രിന്റ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ്സ് എന്തായാലും AI ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് കാണും. പ്രിന്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കോൺസോൾ ലോഗ്, ഓരോ ലാംഗ്വേജിനും ഇറ്റ്സ് സ്ലൈറ്റ്ലി ഡിഫറെന്റ്. ബട്ട് ദ തിങ് ഇസ്, നിങ്ങൾ ടെർമിനലിൽ ഓരോരോ മെസ്സേജസ് കാണുമെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് ദ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ്, ഐ ഗസ് the program's way of talking to you and giving you right the results. ഇപ്പം ആ റെസിപ്പി ഇതെടുത്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ ഡാറ്റാബേസിൽ സേവ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് പ്രിന്റ് ബി ലൈക്ക് സേവ് ടു ഡാറ്റാബേസ്. then it be like ഓരോ പ്രാവശ്യം ഫെച്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഒരു പ്രിന്റ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെന്റ് ഇടാം, ലൈക്ക് person A fetch this recipe. So these are computers way of like talking and be giving input to them. I think we can cover the loops next.
Yes.
Okay. ലൂപ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് സിമ്പിൾ ടേംസിൽ ചില സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾക്ക് ഒരു സംഭവത്തിൽ തന്നെ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ്ലി ചോദിക്കേണ്ടി വരും. ലെറ്റ്സ് സേ നമുക്കൊരു ലിസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് നമ്പേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. ലിസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് നമ്പേഴ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താന്ന് അറിയോ? തംസ് അപ്പ് വുഡ് ബി നൈസ്. സോ ഒരു ബാഗ് ഓഫ് ഒനിയൻസ് എടുക്കാം. സോ അതില് you have about what 10 onions, and you want to see what onions have I guess are bad. So how would you do it? In a programmatically ചിന്തിക്കുന്നതാണെങ്കിൽ you take one onion at a time, you check if it's bad, ആണെങ്കിൽ you throw it out, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ you keep it aside. So അങ്ങനത്തെ പിന്നെ ഒന്ന് അടുത്ത ഒനിയൻ എടുക്കും, you will look at it, പിന്നെ മാറ്റി വെക്കും, പിന്നെ ഒന്നും കൂടി എടുക്കും, look at it, മാറ്റി വെക്കും. So this is what you call a loop. This is like you going through the same process but a different item each single time. So this is one of the most powerful things in programming actually. Loops also come in two types actually, while loops and for loops. While loops in the specialty എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാല് നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ കണ്ടീഷണൽസ് പഠിച്ചില്ലേ, കണ്ടീഷണൽസും വൈൽ ലൂപ്സും ആണ് ആക്ച്വലി ടുഗെദർ കപ്പിൾ ചെയ്തിട്ട് വരിക. ഫോർ ലൂപ്സ് എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാലാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പം ഒനിയൻസിന്റെ ആ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ, ഒരു റേഞ്ച് ഓഫ് ഡേറ്റ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ something that's a list or a dictionary. A dictionary is basically just like a list. It's similar. So if you look at for loops is just what I said. If you look at a specific example, it's for I in a range of 1 to 5, which is basically like the variable I, which is our what do you say, the hand that's picking up the onion will be 1 on the first loop, 2 on the second loop, 3 on the third loop, and so on. And it will just print that specific one. The difference it comes to while and for is the fact that while loop stops only after the condition is met. If the condition is never met, the while loop goes on forever. And that is one of the common beginner mistakes a lot of people makes, which is they forget about the while loop condition and it creates a lot of issues. So in here, while loop, what the while loop is doing is it's printing the number I until the I turns to 5. And you will be like, how does I change? If you look at the second line of code, it's like I, so it's like adding I. So the first loop, it will be 1. The second loop, I is added to 2. So it's like 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Then it becomes 3, then it becomes 4. Then finally, when it becomes 5, the condition is met and the loop closes. So in a very generic sense, loops are something that you basically loop over. So when you think about these things, if you look at a list of customers you have, if there's more than one user and I want to get the data of all of these users, I will obviously use a loop to get all of the users' data. Karna, that is the programmatic way of doing these things. If you guys didn't understand anything, just a thumbs down would be nice, and message actually. If you guys have any like specific doubts on how loops or conditionals work, you can just text on the chat, and if there's any issues. Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, I think we can move on to the next one.
Yes.
So AI as a learning agent rather than
Yes.
copy paste.
The one thing I want to say is copy pasting on actually most developers do, but the thing is they understand what they're copy pasting. So നിങ്ങൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ്ങിൽ തന്നെ പോയിട്ട് കോപ്പി പേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പ്രശ്നം എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു റിസൾട്ട് കിട്ടും, പക്ഷെ എന്താണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാവില്ല. അപ്പൊ അവിടെ ഇല്ല ഇഷ്യൂ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നീ ഇന്ന് ആ ഒരു പ്രൊജക്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നാളെ വരുമ്പോഴേക്ക് ഒരു ഐഡിയ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല എന്താണ് സംഭവം നടന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ. അത് മാത്രമല്ലാണ്ട് ഇതിലിപ്പോ ഒരു എറർ വന്നു, AI cannot fix this, what will you do? So that
You're,
is
mm.
you
You're stuck
can.
there actually. You're stuck there. You're like wondering what to do. ചിലപ്പോ like AI എന്നിട്ട് like ദേഷ്യപ്പെടുന്നു. അത് എന്നിട്ട് all you're doing is just wasting your time. Other than that, if you know the concepts or if you like know what to do, then that makes your job much more easier. If you know what to like prompt as well. So suppose like you have like you're trying to make a website and then some of the design elements do not seem right. Like some text is way outside the box. So if you know what text box you're looking for, or if you're looking for like maybe like ആ ഒരു ക്ലാസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു കണ്ടെയ്നർ എന്താണെന്ന് നോക്കിയാൽ, and then all you have to do is like find it, control F വെച്ചിട്ട് ഫൈൻഡ് ചെയ്യുക. ഫൈൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് അവിടെ എന്താണ് പ്രശ്നം എന്ന് നോക്കുക. എന്നിട്ട് നോക്കിയിട്ട് മനസ്സിലായില്ലെങ്കിൽ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് യു നോ വേർ ദ പ്രോബ്ലം വുഡ് ബി ലൈങ്, റൈറ്റ്? സോ അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് യു ക്യാൻ പ്രോബബ്ലി ലൈക്ക് prompt in such a way that you're localizing your problem. Like you know where the problem is. All you have to do is tell your AI agent to like, okay, check this place, and like if there's an error in this, please fix this for me.
Yes. So what I would like you guys to do is നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ വൈറ്റ് ബോർഡ് ചെയ്തില്ലേ, അപ്പം ഞാൻ ഒരു ബിഗ് ഐഡിയ എടുത്തു, അതിനെ സബ് പ്രോബ്ലംസ് ആക്കി, അതിനെ ഒന്നും കൂടി സബ് പ്രോബ്ലംസ് ആക്കി. So that is how you should think. You should never give an AI like the whole project. ഒരിക്കലും I want to build a recipe app, build me this എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it will build you something, but you wouldn't understand what's going on. അപ്പൊ you will be like ഈ സ്പെസിഫിക് തിങ്ങിൽ ഈ ഒരു സ്പെസിഫിക് ടോപ്പിക്കിനെ കുറിച്ച് നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് തുടങ്ങി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു വിൽ ലേൺ ആൻഡ് യു വിൽ ബിൽഡ് ദ തിങ്. കുറച്ച് അങ്ങോട്ട് എത്തിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു ക്യാൻ അബ്സ്ട്രാക്ട് എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് ദീസ്. യു ക്യാൻ ബി ലൈക്ക് these are the things I want to build, these are the things. The longer the prompt you give or the more context you give the AI, the better the result. But when you're starting out, you do not know what the context itself is, so you can't give it to them. So the fact is, start ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് always start very simple, like വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ ആയിരിക്കണം. ലിറ്ററലി like 3 to 4 വേർഡ്സിൽ നിന്റെ പ്രോബ്ലം എന്താണെന്ന് AI മനസ്സിലാവും. അവിടെ നിന്നാണ് യു ഷുഡ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ബീങ് ലൈക്ക് ബിൽഡിംഗ് ബ്ലോക്സ് പോലെ ചിന്തിക്കാം. ഇതൊന്ന് ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്തു, ഇതൊന്ന് ബിൽഡ് ചെയ്തു. സോ യു ബി ലൈക്ക് doing individual parts at a time. So the use of this is you will start to like ഒരു മെന്റൽ മാപ്പ് കിട്ടും എന്താണ് എവിടെ പോകേണ്ടത് എന്ന്. So that is the whole point of these things. ഇപ്പം ഇതിൽ പറഞ്ഞതിൽ തന്നെ a few topics might have been like ഭയങ്കര കൺഫ്യൂസിംഗ് ആയി തോന്നിട്ടിരിക്കും. Ryan just mentioned like what is a class or what is a container. These things are something we can teach you, but the fact is ഓരോ പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് it will give you like codes on how these things are. ഫംഗ്ഷൻ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു ക്യാൻ തിങ്ക് ഓഫ് ഇറ്റ് ലൈക്ക് എ സ്പെസിഫിക് ടാസ്ക് പ്രോഗ്രാം ഡസ്. ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ്സ് ലൈക്ക് റീഡിങ് ദ ടൈം, ദാറ്റ്സ് എ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ. ആൻഡ് ആ ഫംഗ്ഷനിൽ തന്നെ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ടാവും. യു ക്യാൻ ബി ലൈക്ക് വാട്ട് ഡസ് ദിസ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ തിങ് ഡസ്, ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ടീച്ച് യു ലൈക്ക് ലൈൻ ബൈ ലൈൻ വാട്ട് ഓൾ ദീസ് തിങ്സ് ആർ. Rather than just getting the output, try to understand how you got the output. കാരണം അതിലാണ് the actual learning comes in.
And അത് മാത്രല്ല, I believe like for TinkHerHack you're not supposed to fully use AI, but അത് മാത്രല്ല, but
you're not supposed to like a lovable or like a complete thing. As long as it's a chatbot or an ID, I think it's okay.
yes. So Adam, that matters because like you have to know what you're doing, right? If you want to like get selected for this. So അതിനു വേണ്ടിയും document ചെയ്യാനും പഠിക്കണം, which will be our next topic. But again, there are other things that you have to consider as well. Maybe if you're in the future beyond the hackathon, if you're like going for like big competitions, or like they check for plagiarism, make sure you know what your sources are. Like ചിലപ്പം like കോഡ് കോപ്പി പേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ലൈക്ക് അത് വേറൊരാളുടെ കോഡ് അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു മോഡിഫിക്കേഷൻസ് വെച്ചിട്ട് മാത്രം മാറ്റുന്ന ഏജൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവാം. So make sure you know where you're taking your code from, and also like how you're using it. So you don't need, go for any infringements or anything like that.
What I would suggest is, so before you even start building, like ask like simple questions like what are the things I can do? How are the ways I can build this? For example, if you're going for the recipe app, right? You can make it a website. You can make it an app. It all depends on what you want, and depending on how you go back and forth with the AI, it'll give you a better understanding on what you want. Let's say you want this to be easily shareable without like downloads and all, then probably a website would be better. And that you would only know after you have talked with the AI a bit and understood what the things you want are. And I guess let's move on to documentation.
Document. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, yeah, we spoke about understanding code.
Yeah. Understanding code in the general sense is syntax ഒരിക്കലും matter ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല കാരണം syntax changes from language to language. The fact is, do you understand what the logic itself is? ഇപ്പം ലൂപ്പ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞില്ല, ലൂപ്പിന്റെ സിൻടാക്സ് ആക്ച്വലി മാറുമായിരിക്കാം, പക്ഷെ ആ ഒരു the way how the loop is structured will always be the same. ഇപ്പം
Uh,
അങ്ങനെ yeah.
Also, syntax actually, what syntax is basically a set of rules you have to follow. It's basically like English ne grammar or like languages ne grammar or syntax is the grammar for programming languages.
Yes. So try to understand the logic behind it rather than I guess the grammar or the syntax behind it. കാരണം അതിന്റെ പിന്നിൽ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ in this coming 24 hours, you will be stuck at like understanding one single concept. That is not what we want you to do. We want you to understand what the single things do, and the overall overarching thing that's going on. If let's take the recipe thing again, right? You have to understand how the data is stored. You don't necessarily have to know where, I guess, the individual data schema. I'm saying a lot of like random words you might think, but these are like lower level things that you necessarily don't have to learn the first time around. So just understand like very high level things, like this is where the data is stored. These are the things I am fetching, or these are the things I'm using. Some things like that. I think we can go to documentation now. Okay. Why does documentation actually matter? In the specific regards to this hackathon, documentation is like a proof that you understood what you have programmed. And if you're like, what do I document? Document.
I think we can start with like the two types. Like, I'll talk. Shall I talk
Yeah,
about
sure.
documentation?
Yeah.
And you can talk. Yeah. So, documentation. Okay, what is documentation? So, documentation is basically like every like most of us have had some kind of like experience with documentation. It's basically report അതുപോലത്തെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ that could be considered as documentation. So for all the languages that we will be using, or we will be using, documentation exists. Why is that? I'll tell you why, but well, പണ്ടൊക്കെ AI മുമ്പ് നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു കോഡ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്, നമുക്ക് ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് പഠിപ്പിച്ചു തരുമായിരുന്നു. But then the people who independently started like coding and learning about this is they were referred something called documentation of that language. So suppose you want to learn Python the old way or the OG way. The OG way would be to like search for Python documentation, and then Python documentation you see what the different syntax is, what could lead to errors. They might even actually show you examples. C ആണെങ്കിലും C in the documentation ഉണ്ട്. Take any tech example from something that you actually code to, there will be documentation for that. ആ documentation വായിച്ചിട്ട് ഏതൊക്കെയാണ് നമുക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കേണ്ട keywords, ഏതൊക്കെയാണ് വേരിയബിൾസ്, എങ്ങനെയാണ് സ്റ്റോർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്, ഡേറ്റ ടൈപ്സ് എന്തൊക്കെയുണ്ട്, അത് നന്നായിട്ട് documentation. When you start to learn documentation, you will master the language beyond like what your college or like school has been teaching you. So yeah, now we'll go to like writing documentation for.
Yeah. So writing documentation, I want you guys to understand it. So you guys start with like a high level overview of what your project is. Let's say, let's take the recipe example. It's like, I want to build a recipe app. Then you go to like sub things you want to do. What does the individual parts of this app does? So it's like, this app logs users. This serves individual users these recipes. I can add more recipes like this, and these are the things I can do. And you give like references in code on, I guess, uh, how do I say, references to the references to where the code is actually. So it'll be like, this is where the code for the user serving the recipe is, or this is where I add the thing is. So that only comes from the fact that you understand the code. And understanding the code is more on the higher level. So most of the time you can just be like, explain what this code does, and the AI does a pretty good job of be like, oh, this is what this does. And from there you can start and learn like individual things on what you want to do. But high level overview is the main thing you want to do. Then like all the features your app or web app or anything does, and references to where in actual code this is. That is the three most important things I'd say you need in documentation for your project.
As well as like, reading documentation, and you just try skimming through. You don't have to read the whole thing. It would be nice if you could just like, just in the വായിച്ച് വിടുക അത് മാത്രം ചെയ്താൽ it would be pretty nice. Now, yeah, we're almost at the end of the session. Like, some of the tips that we would suggest is basically, നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യമേ തന്നെ full project ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കല്ല. It's always gonna end up in like, probably like, well, sad times. But then അതിനെ ഓരോരോ ചെറിയ മൈക്രോ പ്രോബ്ലംസ് ആയിട്ട് കരുതുക. ആ മൈക്രോ പ്രോബ്ലംസ് സോൾവ് ചെയ്ത് like maybe like have like a small checklist in your head. Okay, this is solved. What do I go for next? Maybe have like a flow chart with you guys. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഓരോ ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും it becomes much more of a reward mechanism for your head as well. And you are not tired mentally as well to like, move on with the project. ആദ്യമേ ഒരു പറഞ്ഞോ.
That's the one part I want to focus on is, before you even start programming, you have to get like things you want to do, like individual micro things you want to do. It'd be like, this is one very small thing I want to accomplish first. So അവിടെ നിന്നായിരിക്കണം സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്. അല്ലാണ്ട് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് തന്നെ the whole thing തുടങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് it be very, I guess, bad thing to do. ഇപ്പം വളരെ വളരെ ഏറ്റവും മിനിസ്കൂൾ ആയി നോക്കാം. ഇപ്പം ഏറ്റവും മിനിസ്കൂൾ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യൂസേഴ്സിന് എൻ്റെ വെബ്സൈറ്റിൽ ഡിസ്പ്ലേ ചെയ്യണം. അവിടുന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. ഓർ ലൈക്ക് യൂസേഴ്സിന് ഇമേജ് കാണിക്കണം. Like, you start as small as you can. That's the whole point.
And yeah, that's mostly like, again, our micro problems is solve ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും okay, we don't have to worry about the next big thing until this is solved. So ആ ഒരു ഇത് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും നമ്മുടെ ഒരു മനസ്സിലൊരു reward factor is there which will keep us pushing towards the next goal that we have to achieve. So അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും within the 24 hours, I believe you guys would have, you'll be able to like cover up multiple different problems. As Fuad suggesting, മറ്റേ different features പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ, ഓരോ ഫീച്ചർ ആയിട്ട് നോക്കുക, ഓരോ ഫീച്ചർ build ചെയ്ത് once everything is done, try clubbing all of them together. That's all you have to do. And then Gitന്റെ കുറച്ച് സെഷൻസ് എടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. Did you guys have the Git session?
Thumbs up, Hero, if you guys are the Git.
Yeah, so you know what version control is. So ഓരോ ബ്രാഞ്ചസിൽ നമ്മൾ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ട് ആഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും maybe like എല്ലാം കൂടെ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് in case something fails, you roll back. That's it.
Yeah. One major thing I want to emphasize is, this is like a learning thing. ഇത് വെച്ചിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ അടുത്ത വലിയ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ഷിപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനല്ല. This is just a place where you want to learn things. So even if you don't complete your project, that does not really matter. As long as there is some kind of proof that you learned something, that is the only thing that's enough actually. If you learn something from the hackathon, that is the biggest what do you say, benefit you can get out of it. നാളെ ഇപ്പം പോയിട്ട്, even if you learn what the basics of how APIs work, that is enough actually. അവിടുന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു റിവാർഡ് എന്താ പറയാ റാം പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ആ ഒരു റിവാർഡ് ഫാക്ടർ മനസ്സിലുണ്ടാവും. പിന്നെ അവിടുന്ന് യു ക്യാൻ ലൈക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ആൻഡ് ഡു വട്ട് എവർ യു വോണ്ട്. സോ ഏറ്റവും പെട്ടെന്ന് നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യൂസ് എ ഐ ആസ് എ ലേണിംഗ് ഗൈഡ് റാദർ ദൻ ജസ്റ്റ് ബീങ് ലൈക്ക് ഓ ഇത് ചെയ്യ് പ്ലീസ് എന്നിട്ട് കോപ്പി പേസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. അതാണ് മോസ്റ്റ് പീപ്പിൾ ഡു ആക്ച്വലി. ബട്ട് ദ ഫാക്ട് ഈസ് അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഇല്ല ഇഷ്യൂ എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു നെവർ ലേൺ എനിത്തിങ്. And whenever AI fails, you can't do anything. You're literally just stuck there. And the fact is, if a net illengile, you can't do anything. Yeah, because without AI, you're like basically stuck. The other fact is uh, documentation. Documentation is very important. It is a proof of what you know, how you know these things, what you have learned in the hackathon. Uh, don't memorize anything, I would say. Try and develop problem solving skills. Like ask AI a lot of questions. Ask it as much as you want. See how different things can work. Ask the stupidest question because AI is not going to judge you. Ask if this can be done, if that can be done, why that cannot be done. All of this is a place where you learn. In the first few hours, I would say before you start even touching one line of code, you just see what are the things you want. Like get a mental map of whatever the idea you guys have is.
Yes. So, other to summarize that, I've written winning is optional. Learning is guaranteed if you do it right, and that's what
Yes.
the biggest thing you could do is.
Yes.
So, yes, guys. So that was mostly it. Do you guys have any doubts
You can
or
just post it in the message. We'll
any doubts whatsoever, like related to anything computer science related?
yes.
No? Okay. So I hope you guys have understood
I
something.
mean, a thumbs up if you guys understood, a thumbs down if you don't.
Thank
Okay.
you. Also, thank you, Rida, for being the volunteer.
Yes. Thank you, Rida. You are the greatest.
Yes,
We all hail Rida.
we do.
Okay, then, guys. If you guys have any doubt, feel free to reach out to us. I think Femina would be the best way to reach us, I guess. Should we just?
Yes.
Yes. We'll always be there for you. If എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു question ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ we are always available for you guys. If you have like specific questions on what you guys want to build, we'll also be there. The mentors will always be a helping hand.
Yes.
Okay, then,
So,
guys.
thank you.
See how can we reach out to you guys?
So I believe everyone here has a TinkerHub campus. So what you can do is you could reach out to your WIT leads, and then your women in tech leads would be able to convey that message to the lead at TinkerHub who is Femina, and then Femina would probably help get it there. Femina is here by the way.
Yeah, you can just ask Femina for us. Oh, I don't know if yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
എന്ത് ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും we are always there for you. Just a text or a call away, I guess. Okay, then, guys. Lovely session. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
What, Rasudeep?
Not yet.